steal. So many great spells to steal.
Oh, there's the Faceless Void. Interesting.
And Escape already got their purple heroes.
Yeah. Oh, wrong team. But still.
Purple enough to go around.
Yeah, that's a lot of purple. All right. Last one coming out from Team Liquid. 15 seconds.
Gonna reveal if it is the Timbersaw Matumbaman, Timbersaw Miracle. They still have a couple of seconds in their bonus time as well, so they might just want to take the time they have just fully discuss this last pick and discuss their game plan as well.
Flashback to last finals. Remember the Timbersaw from OG Miracle?
Oh, God. That was actually to the point where they were in the finals up against Na'Vi, and Na'Vi actually, they were losing hard, and Miracle was absolutely owning with the Timbersaw, but Na'Vi was laughing because they just couldn't kill the Timbersaw, and it was literally 5 versus 1, and they just couldn't kill him.
Yeah, the entire team for like a good 45 seconds just beating down on that Timbersaw. So definitely a hero to be afraid of, and one that wins specifically Dream League Finals. That is a Tiny, another call.
Tiny. Okay, that one was easy though. That's a whiz. That
Wow.
I like it.
Am I not getting the memos? Are you guys being fed stats or something? Why am I the only dumb person on the panel? Everyone,
just get used to it.
I mean, it's something.
Why do you think we all have our own headsets?
What?
So, Annie, who do you think's gonna take it? Liquid.
I'm gonna go Liquid as well.
Who's on what now? Shiva, you do it.
Liquid.
Okay, I'll do Escape. I have nothing to lose. Come on, boys!
Well, let's find out if it's gonna be a 1-1 or if Liquid is gonna have a 2-0 here in this best of 5 grand finals. Escape Gaming versus Team Liquid with Audi Pixel and Gods.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Game 2 coming up now. Liquid versus Escape Gaming. We're seeing the drafts. Liquid closing it up with this Tiny Eye. We're going to see some Miracle Tiny. A combination that Liquid is definitely not their go-to, but I guess they see the opening. And do you feel something that's going to be pretty good against Escape Gaming's lineup, or just the era final pick Slark kind of mix things up a little bit for Liquid?
Slark's not an issue for the Tiny. It is a good hero for Escape's draft as far as just being a tempo controlling carry that they like to put. They like to put Era on like the mid game carry, and then Koikva's playing the late game carry from the mid lane. Era kind of joked that I've got this mid player who just likes to farm and hit creeps, and he's got to create space for him, and that's kind of what the Slark's intended to do. Tiny definitely kind of looking through the carries, one of the better options against like the Sand King Invoker Mirana. It's just a lot tankier, has the sustain from the IO. It's going to scale well into the late game, so we'll see how Miracle can do handling this hero. And Matu, he's been playing this Timbersaw a lot. He loves the hero. We saw him and talked to him a bit before the tournament. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to play a lot of Morphling and Timbersaw. That's the plan. And he's
absolutely, and giving us very, very stellar performances. And this game, we'll see if that trend is going to continue. Overall,
looking for the Rubik. That's a treat. We've had 2 games in a row,
and it was a very nice game. Game 1 and Game 2, as Shiva mentioned on the panel, there's a lot of nice stuff for him to play with this game if he gets his hands on it.
Yeah. And we'll see. Likely a rune trade. Looks like Liquid should be able to get themselves top. They're going to go for bottom. And looking at some of the matchups, so we'll be Invoker mid against the IO Tiny. That's a possible lane for the Invoker, but he's going to have some assistance from the Yapzor roaming Mirana, I've got to imagine. See where Yapzor looks to move, whether he tries to get a fast level 2 in the jungle before coming on out, whether he goes for something sneaky like a courier snipe could be a possibility. But for now, he's just going to be starting off down towards that Radiant bottom side of the map.
So this mid lane matchup, Miracle being backed up by GH. How well is this going to pan out against Koikva? Does Koikva still get something in the lane against these two? Or?
They're very, very rough for Invoker. In level 1, you can get some CS here or there, but once Tiny hits level 2, there's that threat of the avalanche toss back to the tower. There's a lot of things that can screw you over, as an Exod Invoker especially. So we'll likely see Koikva really struggle in this lane from like the 2 to 3 minute mark onward. And right away, Miracle's just like spamming stuns at Koikva, using the IO to regen up his mana if he needs. And yeah, Koikva, no fun.
I hope so. It's just that he kept taking the creeps, of course, with the arrow to try and get himself that quick level 2 on the Miranas to help him roam around the map.
Yeah, this is something he really likes to do, but Kuro is there to leech the XP, so he's slowed this down. He's leached the experience from both big creeps, I believe, and that means this is where Yapzor, I've seen a lot of his Mirana. It's a hero, I mean, I just kind of learned from because I played a lot myself in that roaming role. You really want to get that fast level 2, so you've got leap when you're roaming around, and by leeching experience from both those big creeps, Yapzor's still level 1 after 2 arrows when he'd normally be level 2. So Kuro, kind of reading and knowing what he likes to do, this kind of helps protect the mid lane, because he's going to have to spend more time in the jungle now before coming on out potentially, or they look for a kill at bottom lane. Mind Control has to be wary of that Nightmare into arrow combo.
Absolutely. In the top lane matchup, Trixie, Stan King once again. We've seen him on this already, I want to say a couple of times at least this tournament. And Matuma Timber. How do we expect this lane to kind of pan out? Is it an easier lane for either hero? It seems like both kind of have their edges against each other. The Caustic causing issues for Matuma, but at the same time, Trixie being a melee strength hero has to be careful about the burst that Matuma can dish out to him.
Yeah, it should be a fairly even matchup. They imagine they'll both farm Matu, one of those very mechanically sound players, maybe able to make up for the disadvantage in the 1v1, and Kuro's there as well, so it's not really a 1v1.
Trixie goes for the Burrow Strike. He's only level 1, so hardly any distance covered at all. And he's going to try and run himself away. There's boots on Matuma.
Yeah, he'll get it eventually.
He should be able to get range, and has a Mango, and indeed he'll jump on that Mango, throw out the Rolling Death, and it's a quick kill for Matuma, and suddenly that top lane looking very, very good. Mid lane, Miracle taking a Sunstrike to the face. Yapzor quite for trying to finish him off, but GH is there to back up Miracle to survive.
That was a nice arrow from Yapzor to set that one up, but just not quite enough damage coming in, and Miracle just stunning and running. It's close stuff. If they got that kill there, that would have really made this lane a lot more manageable for the Invoker, but already Invoker's doing alright. He's not too far behind on CS. He's hit level 3.5. He's sitting fairly healthy, so hasn't been too big of a problem lane for Clippert just yet.
Back up to the top lane. Trixie has to be careful. Kuroki's still hanging around. Now have the level 2 Burrow Strike, so that extra range to get himself out of there. And Yapzor continue to move around the map. With this ward here, they're Liquid well aware of the positioning of this Mirana. And yeah, with the clarities, may just look to get some more creeps done. And already he'll spot out a couple of stacks being created in Liquid's jungle. Miracle's going to head over as well. And let's have some of the XP from one of their big creep. This is something that I guess Liquid could... they want to maintain control over, because these stacks are going to be huge for Miracle to get those good timings. Because I imagine they're going to the Tiny. Do you think it's going to be the Tiny or the Bat that takes these stacks in the jungle?
Probably more likely the Tiny getting the fast blink dagger, since he's the more explosive of the two. But problem is, Mirana, you can't really punish the Mirana being up there, and that arrow will miss, but it actually does matter. It means the Io gets away, so it's unfortunate there for escape. So still with another clarity, he's just going to probably even take out one more Centaur in that camp, and then you just leap behind those little magic resistance neutrals, and it's like the worst case scenario for Tiny.
Absolutely.
That stacking resistance is not a camp he wants to be farming.
Extra effort to clear, and when he does, it's only the small creeps at the camp. And still, looking at the other lanes, Hera on the bottom. 32 for 13. This man is having the free farm that he wishes for this game. Before 5 minutes in, pretty much perfect CS, making the side pulls as well into the large camp. This Lark's only going to get the start that he wants, and mid laner, Synderen coming for a potential wraparound, but immediately they just turn around onto him, and Sin maybe looking to try and set something up, but with the two supports there, GH and Kuroki backing a Miracle, there wasn't a chance in hell that was going to work out for Sin.
Yeah, he likely thought he had a Nightmare into Arrow plus Sunstrike kind of setup going there, but it was Liquid who get the jump on him first, and before he can even Nightmare, he's been comboed down by the Tiny with the Rubik follow-up. So nicely played by Liquid, they were ready for it. Good job kind of looking to make sure that the Tiny remains somewhat protected in this middle lane with the support movement. Very active support so far from both teams. We saw Sind and Yapzor in the enemy jungle. We've seen Rubik of Kuro as well as GH on the Io moving around a lot. Both teams kind of happy to run these kind of triple solo with roaming support kind of setups.
Top lane looking for a setup here. Nice Burrow Strike into the empty arrow to pull up through as well, and with the Sunstrike from Boyford to seal the deal. Very, very nice and clean pick off there from Escape Gaming.
They're well executed, and great use of the Epicenter, something that's often kind of hard to use in the early game. Something that's often even skipped as a spell when you're playing that core Sand King, but find the setup, and they've got such good chain stunning coming out. Like you look at like the Nightmare into arrows, the Sanking Burrow into arrows, all this setup for the Invoker means this is a very difficult early game for Liquid. They could be very wary of those Sunstrikes flying around with all those stuns and setup that Escape have for it, and Escape definitely want to keep moving and trying to find kills like this because of how much firepower they have.
Still there, Hera. Really having minimal pressure being applied to him on that bottom lane. This could be the beginnings of a beautiful game for a Slark.
It's time to look that way. Level 7. This is one of Era's most played heroes too, if you go back to some of his previous, less so as of the last year or so, but back on the old Fnatic.
Oh, hello. Kroki, he's found them.
Oh, he's stunned the Bane too.
That's good enough. Yeah, make sure the Sin can't get the Nightmare off.
That looked like he was going to get Nightmare up for a second then.
Kuro just swagging his way out.
Both teams like took like half a second to react like, what's going on? Oh yeah, I better use the telekinesis here.
Still, quite from the mid lane.
Yeah. And Tiny can't really keep up with the free farm of the Slark because he doesn't have the stacks. If he had the stacks there, he'd be looking at getting a very fast, looks like a drums into potential Blink Dagger, but they've kind of given up even stacking it because of the fact that Mirana came in.
He may just get the skill as well. GH will put the stick charges out. He's got the tether across. But the arrow from him, so nearly clipping him. GH will be able to duke it out. Play it safe, but as we can see Trixie just stealing this captain, as you said, this is just absolutely crushing for Miracle. YapzOr taking the earlier two big creeps from this first stack, and then Trixie getting himself a tasty bit of gold from the second one.
They just have these hard to gank elusive heroes. Sand King, Mirana, they come into your jungle and just steal your neutrals, and you're like, what? How do you stop it?
This is exactly what they need to be doing. They're looking for Era. He's got the Dark Packs, and Ultra Port actually kills the Io. Will be paying with his own life, but he managed to find a solo kill out of that one. Era's back to the base. Of course, seeing if you can do anything about it. Spinner comes in with a toss. Avalanche is going to be up in a couple of seconds. Sim with the brain sap, keeping himself alive. Miracle one more right click, and then Avalanche should finish the deal, but at the same time, Trixie came in on the back lines, was able to kill off Mind Control. Koifa and Trixie turning back towards Miracle, but Miracle being tethered up by GH. YapzOr with an arrow to hold back the Tiny. So they can do anything about this one as Kuroki chases across. Seeing if he can get a lift onto anyone. Koifa will be caught out. Jump back. Miracle pull up on the mana as well. As the infused range also, it's not going to save Koifa. The damage from this burst combo too much at this stage of the game. And Miracle seems to chase down for more on the side. Synneren has the Nightmare to GH. The arrow and the brain sap to follow through as well, but a toss back, getting the ball out of there. GH in fact comes back in, tethers across. Alignment to look for Synneren, not finding. Trixie came in with a good burrow strike, able to kill Kuroki, but he ends up paying with his life. Miracle still alive with GH here. Era and YapzOr desperately trying to see if they can finish this off. They will find GH. Miracle has Avalanche back up in 6 seconds. Look at these juke out potential pounces. Off cooldown in a second. Mind Control's come back across. Has the lasso available. Indeed, Era just needs to get himself out of there as he spots the back coming through. I want to go back in if YapzOr achieve anything, but yeah, with the arrow already chucked, looks like he himself won't get a lash, but a bit of a messy fight there. But at the end of the day, Miracle prevails, keeps himself alive, and gets himself very involved.
He's 3-0-3 suddenly, got some kills, some assists for himself and his team. That was the dream scenario for him, and the casualties were mostly it was entirely the supporting cast. Kuro on the Rubik and GH's Io with 2 deaths for Liquid, but Escape lost much targets in the Invoker, the
This is nice as well, just some sweet little things on top. You take his stacks, he'll take yours. A quick little double stack there for the two of them.
The retribution.
And getting closer and closer to the Blink Dagger. Cindy's going to find Miracle, and Miracle very, very low. A good taking off of the Nightmare from Mind Control. Mind Control isn't even going to pay off his own life as Aaron misses the pounce onto the bat. GH coming in, tethering up Mara, chucking her up. Aaron's down. And they've just found themselves a Slark kill as well off the back of this all. YapzOr did put the Moonlight, but Sind and Yap couldn't do anything in return. And Miracle has just suddenly been handed the world to him. And he's taking it all up, and he is very close to having that Blink Dagger finish now.
Really unfortunate for Era. He was like half a second away from having the Shadow Dance back up, but even so, Liquid making all the right moves to toggle the sleep from one hero to the next, and then dodge that pounce coming in with a nice little sidestep. And while this is going on, Masu's just had kind of free reign over the top lane. He's taken the tier 1 tower, he's hit level 9, he's got an Arcane Boots plus Hood.
We've seen this all before, Matsumaman getting space.
It's the same thing with Liquid. This is not your conventional physical damage carry, but it's still a carry nonetheless when you get this kind of free farm and can get a fast Bloodstone. And it's this 4 heroes create space for one, and then that one gets super scary and comes to the fights and kills everyone. That's kind of what Liquid are looking to do here, and Matu is in a great position with his farm, and Miracle as well having a great game, unlike last where he got shut down a bit, at least died a bit in the early game, and we'll see him get that Blink Dagger and probably start finding more and more kills for himself and his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Already this game, 11 minutes in, certainly looking a little grim for Escape Gaming. One of the hopes they had was the fact that Aero was getting that space down bottom, but that last sequence of events is seeing Escape very, very hard.
Miracle goes for a solo smoke bottom, by the way. I'm not sure if this is...
He's got the Blink reveal. Now allowed to close the gap on Aero. Hasn't got quite enough burst to kill him before Shadow Dance, though.
Yeah, he smoked up by himself mid lane, though. It's kind of an unconventional play to make as a tiny normal. Obviously, like in a more pub style game, yeah, this is a kind of play you do make when you're a mid tiny with a Blink Dagger and level 9, but trying to catch the Era Slack by surprise, but enough HP with the Aquila as well as the power treads to not go down to that combo.
They might still find Era if Era's not careful with his farming patterns here.
I go for the double smoke. It's like, alright, smoke them one failed, let's smoke up immediately afterwards. He won't expect this, and he's farming the jungle.
He has to tread very carefully. Does he go for this camp? If he is going to, Liquid aren't going to head that way though. They're moving over towards the Ancients. They spot Koifer out with this ward. They're going to jump in immediately, looking to burst him down, and KuroKy with the stolen Burrow Strike is disposable. Will use it and take down the Koifer Invoker. Now they're moving on for potentially more. Liquid, they have their eyes towards Syndra and Trixie. Moonlight Shadow is there. Syndra turning around, looking for a step up, but the bit of a whiff in communication. The arrow will connect, but both Nightmare and Burrow Strike being thrown down at a very awkward timing. Trixie just has to walk his way out. Miracle jumping forward, thinking about trying to get a bit of a latch on, but decides to back off.
Texture made that a bit tricky to continue applying pressure and going for those kills.
And one down bottom Era, finding mind control, but instant CP out. Yeah, good reactions. Era very, very close to having the Shadow Blade done though, so this is certainly going to allow Era to play around these fights a little bit easier. Try and get onto the back liners, see if he can catch out the Rubik or the IO. Definitely the two easier targets for him in this game. And targets who should be able to solo kill with just the Shadow Blade at this stage.
Yeah, this is very good timing for him, and he needs to now do what Tiny's doing, which is just run around the map, being that kind of fighting hero himself. Sankin gets a blink at the same time, so they've kind of got a good pair of items.
Miracle jumping in onto Trixie, surrounded by GH and KuroKy. It's another kill into Miracle.
Good news, he bought the blink, but yeah, he also goes down.
Miracle's having such a clean game in terms of kills, and Matuma having such a good game in terms of cleanly just farming his creeps at the moment. 6.3 get a burst sitting at the top. Eric coming in with the Shadow Blade onto KuroKy, but quickly with the Burrow Strike gets himself out. That's the Shadow Blade reveal, and it's not finding anything for the Slark.
Forced to ultimate, which means that's 60 seconds of downtime where he can't really fight following this, so not the ideal scenario for Escape's Shadow Blade reveal. See Miracle now going to a Shadow Blade of his own. He wants to just keep on bringing the fun to Escape with his pressure, and as you mentioned, Matu just going to keep on farming. He's just pressuring the lane solo. He doesn't really do much building damage, but by clearing waves instantly, the creeps can do that for him, and it's a hero that you can't really gank because of how tanky he is.
Oh, Miracle.
He's having a field day.
They can't stop him finding these kills.
Yeah, that was the, I know there's a ward there, let's go de-ward, and then as you're de-warding, Tiny blinks on you and combos you down.
This Tiny proving to be incredibly scary for Escape. Not a lot they can do to just slow down the momentum he's hitting. Bottom lane, Trixie has to be careful. It's actually going to get the Burrow Strike off in time here. Now Bako's going to be boring though, and Liquid just throwing the full 5 heroes at Trixie, bringing him down. Look, it's just going to get something off the re-relocate back here. And they will look towards GH, jumping forward, but GH, these groups as well, they get the kill, but area incredibly low, has to be careful, the Burrow Strike, again, KuroKy comes forward. Oh, Liquid, 13-6, it is not looking pretty for Escape Gaming here in game 2.
And that's the Slark, your carry, who's your most farmed hero going down there as well. That was a, by the way, really bizarre play that bottom with the Sanky. He Burrow Strike out of the lasso. It must have been like time frame perfect. I don't know how or whether that was possible, but the lasso went off and he immediately got out of the lasso by Burrow Striking at the same time. So I don't know. One of the things OS Frog, please look, they're definitely worth a look back on, but As it stands, yeah, kind of as you kind of mentioned, Liquid are steamrolling. They're getting kills all over the place. Matu's going to have a Bloodstone, so Matu just doesn't really care about coming to fights until he gets that Bloodstone, because then he can start racking up the charges. But his game is going to start getting a bit more interesting once he comes to these fights.
Absolutely. Escape Gaming looking to go for a potentially high-risk, high-reward play here with a full smoke up towards top. Miracle with the newly picked up Shadowblade could catch them off guard though, making a beeline immediately forever. He gets the Shadowblade right-click and the combo. It could be enough, and then DJ Arrow spots out. The Tiny is around underneath that sentry. In fact, yeah, Miracle aware that something's going on, tries to blink away, but the follow-through there. Good Burrow Strike, everything's in for now. Quirky gets into the Burrow Strike, but immediately he dies. They've lost Miracle as well. This is the fight that Escape Gaming needed. To lose the SK, it looks like they'll lose the pain and all. Just as it looks, the starters look a little bit good, but Timmerman turns up, and this is not the fight that Escape needed. They did find 2 quick kills at the start with a sweet little combo, but they've lost 3. Arrow's trying to keep himself alive with the Dukes into the tree line, has the Shadowblade. He may be able to get himself out safely. It looks like the detection isn't there. But again, just when it looks like Escape find themselves a good fight, the rest of Liquid turn up and turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, Kuro went for the Burrow Strike in, hoping to cancel the Epicenter, and it was just a split second too late. If he cancels the Epicenter there, he may not die. He may even save Miracle's life on the Tiny there, so worth the risk, but ultimately looks like a bit of a fail when he Burrow Strikes into an Epicenter.
Talking about Kuro, he's going to head towards the mid lane, and they're going to catch him out. Get themselves another one Escape. That will actually put them in an overall better position considering that trade. We saw already in terms of gold, the fact that they were behind, even though they lost in terms of numbers, they came out in terms of gold advantage, and with that extra bit of a boost to Era, they'll certainly take it, but still Liquid with the overarching lead in this game.
Yeah, Liquid going to look to keep applying that pressure. They entering that deep Radiant jungle.
Sentries are definitely the aim of the game here. Well, coming a little too late as Miracle jumps in. They do manage to get a Burrow Strike with a Sunstrike as well. Miracle in a lot of trouble. GH coming in with the tether is not going to save him. And they've lost Finn, but Liquid, they've lost Miracle. Lasso from Mind Control, trying to hold Quake for in place here, but he's getting himself out to safety with the Ghost Walk. Trixie comes in back in with the Burrow Strike onto 2. Aaron from Yapso isn't going to connect, but Mind Control in a lot of trouble. Has the Firefly trying to get his way out of this, and he will do so indeed. And at the same time, throwing back that Firefly, Quaifa actually ended up ticking down as he came back into Era. Can he actually finish off this kill though? Already Mind Control blinking away. Aaron has got a DD here that he wants to take, but it's very hard for him to chase down, and if he does, they could very much go back into him. Quirky, GH, and Mind Control sitting there on the high ground waiting for him. Losing 2 heroes and only getting 1.
Didn't quite manage to burst down the Slack at the start of the fight, which caused them some problems since he managed to turn that around later on. And losing Miracle, that's his one of your high-value targets that's now died twice in recent times. He has been well overtaken by his teammate, the Timbersaw, in terms of overall farm.
Matsu's loving this.
Yeah, he's huge. And
it's just been perfect decisions from him in terms of sticking in the lane and farming and turning up to the fights. 13 Bloodstone charges. He's happy already. As soon as he picked it up, as you said, he's getting himself at least 1.
And he can go into like a Boots of Travel or something, which can allow him to spend just as much, if not more, time farming and still be at the fights. So getting that kind of global mobility to be able to push out pressure lanes, get a Blink Dagger maybe for that extra fight DPS. But as it stands here, this has been a really strong showing out of his Timbersaw.
It's like Escape just trying to find some sort of objective themselves. They're pushing up onto the top lane with a full 5-man. Matsumaman go for the Blink Dagger pickup next before the bots. Making himself
gives you more kill potential. You can get right on top of the Slack. It combos with Miracle. When he blinks in, you're blinking in as well and bursting a Slack from full HP. If they had the Blink Dagger previously when they tried to kill the Slack near the neutral camps, it would have been a very different fight for them.
Pushing in now. They don't actually have fortification here, Escape. So this could be pretty painful if they lose a fight around this bottom lane push. Miracle already doing half the damage to the tower. Yapso jumping into Sakura, the creeps away, but already the damage is coming in for Liquid on this bottom lane, and they have to be very, very careful about how they take a fight in this situation. And it's very much getting to the point where Liquid are just pushing Escape back up against the wall, and Escape's feeling limited in options. Miracle's going to come forward, immediately jumped on though, brought down to half health. Miracle needs some sort of a save, and of course it's there. GH comes and immediately relocates him back to base. Miracle will be top back up to full health, though. They'll definitely bring him back. Silver Edge has been complete on Arrow.
they go for the fight now. And we'll bring Miracle back in.
Trixie coming in with a big epicenter though, gets the power strike onto 2. GH is going to be the first to pop. They'll turn attention towards the right. He's going to proceed ultimate play for the last note. Ooh, that's cancelling. Not in time though, but Man's already down. Escape now turn towards mind control. They found 2. They're looking for a third. Trixie comes in with a power strike. Error closing the gap. They find a third kill. Escape with the exact defense that they needed to pull out, but Miracle, he's not done. He's shadowbladed up with KuroKy. And he may look to jump in and go for a bit of a flashy play. He's questioning it. It looks like he won't bite. He will play it safe and back off, but absolutely Escape Gaming there, getting a massive gold swing and managing to hold off that early advance that Liquid were going to look for onto that bottom lane.
Yeah, such a good initiation from Trixie on the Sand King to hit the 2-hero Burrow Strike with the epicenter. No hesitations there. Then they got the grip onto Timbersaw, which did get cancelled, but there was enough damage that even with the grip being cancelled, they still brought him down.
KuroKy maybe looking for a bit of a bait. Miracle is around, and indeed with the stolen Fiend's grip, Miracle jumping in with the help of Matumba. They get the kill. Matumba Man gets another Bloodstone charge, and KuroKy with the Fiend's grip at the bait.
Well, that's a nifty little kill. Stopped him from going the D-ward off and stuff, maintained some of Liquid's map control, but still feels like, yeah, Liquid, even with that kind of botched team fight around that bottom lane, still in prime position to take this game.
Top lane. Actually going to see Boyfa in a lot of trouble there. Miracle coming through as well. He tries to first walk out of it, but the damage too much with the AoE.
Really nice
error.
part about having the IO Tiny with the ganking Barret. He can just go around the map looking for the Invoker by himself, and then it's always going to turn into a 3-man gank on the Invoker. So really hard for the Invoker to play the split push style that he wants to now when you're versing that IO.
Error's looking for something in the jungle, but very, very hard targets to find. Even if he gets to jump onto mind control with the Force and the Blink, they can use after the pounce as worn off. He still has a chance of escaping, keeping himself alive. GH, as we see the stats come up, certainly already having a pretty nice little performance on the IO. We're seeing him consistently get in there, top up his team, allowing Miracle to go pretty ham in some of these drawn-out fights. And indeed, the last one did manage to save him. I don't think you can really blame him for the call of bringing him back in. I'm sure the team was calling for it, and it was just a case of Escape. We're ready with Trixie's play.
Yeah, they even came back in, and then Miracle blinked backwards, and it was actually totally okay. That was definitely not any fault on his part.
Let's go eyes onto Miracle. Miracle's actually looking for the courier, by the looks of it. Could make a jump, and in fact, Miracle is very far away from the rest of his team. He will be surrounded, and he will be brought down. Miracle maybe getting a little cocky there.
He's feeling it, like, as far as, like, he's doing so well this game that he feels like he's the king of the world and can go for these super aggressive, cocky plays. And because of that, he's being punished when he gets scouted out. And that was the beauty of the Slack there, finding him, allowing his team to set up on him.
And they're moving on for more. GH on his own, down on the bottom lane. He's going to be taken out as well. Escape finding a second. And they might even find a third as well. Matumba Man. That's very low on the mana. Boyfa jumping forward. Has got the pipe on Matumba, and that's going to be more than enough to walk it off. They just don't really have the damage there. He's going to look to jump in onto KuroKy, who came in and walked in, and Liquid. I don't know what's happening in the last minute, but it's all starting to fall apart a little bit from them. Spontaneously giving away 4 kills. KuroKy twice.
Yeah, that's what Merlini would call chain feeding. In these sets, the first one is one of those things where, like, okay, Miracle's playing a bit cocky, he's a Tiny trying to find solo kills, like that's what that hero sometimes does, but the IO was just kind of alone pushing bottom lane, then Rubik walked in, like the second and third deaths are the ones that should be avoided there. But you're just kind of in this mindset where you've got one person in your team playing super deep by themselves, so even the supports and the arrested team end up playing similarly, like, oh, we're going to play the solos push out lane by ourselves style, which can work in certain situations, but not when Escape are hunting and looking for those kills, and they have the Slack, as well as the gap closing capabilities of Sand King, as well, and just the lockdown that the rest of the team provides, so it's given Escape some really much needed comeback goal. It's been like a 4,000 gold swing over the last 4 or 5 minutes, and
as we can see there, it really started to settle out as Liquid had that lead, but Escape pretty much bringing it all back round to them. YapzOr very, very close to having Aghanim Scepter complete. Something that you really can't play down when it comes to these team fights.
Yep. Escape are just playing better as a team, whereas Liquid playing better maybe as individuals for the most part. Outside, obviously some of the, I say that like after a few of the individuals got picked off, but that's kind of as a result of Escape's team play. But Liquid's individual play has been very, very good this game.
And with this smoke up, looking to make a jump onto Yamsor, and this will be a very easy kill for the side. And they'll knock him out just as he was very, very close to having that goal to finish off the Aghanim. So a nice little setback there for them to inflict on the Marauder.
Yep. And for Liquid, they're kind of just ignoring Roche right now. They just want to keep going around, taking fights, looking for pickups, using the ganking capabilities of the Batrider as well as the relocating Io plus Tiny. And until they really get an Aghanim Scepter, breaking through the high ground is not really going to be a priority or even too much of a consideration for them. Even with that bottom tier 3 tower getting low.
Already, Escape, finding them. I mean, we're seeing KuroKy being very vulnerable, of course, to this Slark, and arguably one of the reasons why they did draft this game, seeing these two supports that can't do a lot if this Slark gets in the face of them. GH and Kuro potentially having a pretty tough game cut out for them in terms of them having to be very careful with their positioning, because they're on the front lines. Era will be quick to jump in and take himself a kill. And with kills like that, Era very close to having BKB complete. He's about halfway through the recipe. And once that's done, only really the lasso he's going to be worried about. And even that, with the dart pack from the Slark, it's going to be hard for Liquid to control this man in the fights. Mid lane, Trixie coming in with the Burrow Strike, followed through Epicenter. There will be the force out in time. Mind Control trying to get himself away. Era, we'll just see if he can jump forward. A good Fiend's Grip for Siller from about a mile off, but the relocate out is there for GH. Saving the back, saving the gem. Miracle will burst down soon on the back lines, but Tumberman's coming forward as well. A little low on the mana front. See if he can do anything about this, but Era, and nicely done. Dart packs, then Silver Edges. The dust comes out, but it's purged off by the dart packs. In no way the Liquid can chase that one down. So they lose Synderen, and a nice little play from GH, of course, just saving the jump.
Unfortunately, the arrow was like a split second too late to catch the Batrider. He forced off to dodge it at the start of the fight as well, so it just pulled Escape deeper onto the Liquid side of the map, which meant chasing became a lot more dangerous, and also meant that Liquid had the numbers there to make sure that the Batrider stayed alive with the nice little relocate play. Ultimately, Liquid don't get, I mean, just the one support kill, not the biggest deal. But saving the gem was the big thing there. If back goes down and you lose the gem to the Slark at this stage of the game, that could be quite problematic for you.
And especially when Escape, they used the Fiend's Grip, Shadow Dance, Moonlight Shadow, Epicenter. It was all thrown in for that attempt. So a little bit of a waiting game for Escape now, as they'll want those tools ready for the next fight. But at the same time, at this stage, it seems like the tempo is slowing down a little bit, where it's just casually both teams looking for heroes to walk out on their own, and Liquid, they find Sid. He wants to volunteer for that role. Having to turn around, they're coming in with first.
Good for Liquid when they're not losing their two cores, the Tiny and the Timbersaw staying alive, getting Bloodstone charges, getting kills for the team, and Slark going down, still hasn't finished his BKB, so until he gets that, these teamfights are just looking very difficult for him. The damage output of the Timbersaw is just proving to be a bit much, and that gets even worse once Timbersaw completes this Aghanim Scepter. Yeah, Slark's just gonna struggle more and more as far as fighting into it. But again, the BKB is the solution there. He wants to have that. It also means if you're going on the Tiny, the Craggy isn't as much of a problem as well. So you can guarantee that you can start stacking up some Essence Shift charges. Even if you're not killing a Tiny or a Timbersaw, just getting the Essence Shift at the start of a fight can be very useful.
Aegis, playing by Miracle, Aegis and BKB. This man's going to be a bit of a brute in these fights, especially with that backup of whether it be just Matuma Man getting the pipe of Insight out, or GH coming in with the tethers. Nonetheless, we're still seeing that Escape are able to find trades in these fights. As you said, Era, just 100 gold now away from that BKB, which you mentioned being absolutely crucial for being able to help him turn up and stand toe-to-toe against some of the cores that Liquid have in play.
And Quake from the Invoker's in a pretty good place in terms of farm as far as being able to impact the late game. He just needs probably like one or two more items and some more levels as well, but he's not behind by a big margin compared to the Dire Core, so just having level 16 is probably the big worry there, as far as this is a hero that really wants to be like level 20 plus, around that 35-40 minute mark, so he needs to continue, and without getting kills it is very difficult to do, and he has been dying a bit, so we'll see how he can do. He can't really split push unless he gets like a Lincoln Sphere as well because of the threat of the Batrider Lasso. So tough game to play in Invoker.
I mean, what's the play now for Escape? Do you feel that they want to be looking for fights with this newly found BKB on Aero, or is it still a case of just waiting for Liquid to come to them? Defensive.
They have very limited ways of cancelling that Fiend script. Just Sin sitting in the backlines there. Just really the Rubik, but in order for Rubik doesn't have a Blink Dagger to get in there fast to cancel it, and for him to get in a position where to cancel Sin's grip, he'd have to get in super. He'd have to be on the high ground. You don't want to be on the enemy high ground as a Rubik when your team's pushing high ground. You want to be sitting behind the cores, and made that fight very difficult because Miracle's down. Like, he uses his combo, and once that Avalanche is on cooldown, that's really the best way to have to cancel the grip, is using Avalanche.
I get they've got the Euls on the back, but at the same time, if you're getting in close enough to do that, you're in trouble. And in trouble, Matumba, man. We saw him lose his life on the top lane. He quickly loses it in the mid, as again, getting caught out. And what's the Bloodstone charge situation looking like for this Timber? It's got to be starting to knock down. Indeed, it is down to 6. It's starting to look a little bit rocky for the boy who had a fantastic opening, as Escape really climbing themselves back into this game, and Liquid with some pretty rocky past few team fights against this side, and now it's Escape. They're being the aggressors and forcing down the mid lane. They'll take a tier 2.
Miracle does have the Ag Scepter now, meaning his threat when they go for these kind of high ground plays is much bigger to the base of Escape, but right now it's not really feeling like it's about the Liquid push. It feels like their ability to take fights and even to a position where they can go for another high ground. They didn't succeed pushing high ground with an Aegis, and now they're going to be put somewhat under pressure with Escape making all these plays. They've got the BKB on Slark coming online. He's got another 2.4k gold already. The Invoker has a good amount of farm. This is going to be a tough game, and there's the Lincoln. So now Quickbit can go actually split push quite effectively because the Batrider Lasso can't really easily start the fight off. He can break it with the Euls before the Lasso, but there's that split second between casts where you can react, throw a Tornado, throw a Ghost Walk out and get away.
And this Moonlight could be huge. Escape from the north, looking for the jump in themselves. Mind control up on the high ground. Just managed to get the Lasso onto the Slark. They're going to look to try and react, but the BKBs are already out on Liquid. Miracle pops it, gets Cinder as well as taking down Error. Liquid reacting very, very nicely there. A beautiful jump in from Mind Control. That gem allowing them to find that start to the fight that proceeds into 3 very tasty kills for the team of Liquid.
It was really good jump from Mind Control. He didn't hesitate. He just immediately went in, grabbed one, pulled him out, and
he's not done.
Okay.
And with that nice little flame brain knocked back into telekinesis phase, they do have to be a bit careful. Trixie at this stage fairly tanky. They'll jump up, but GH has actually brought Miracle in onto the high ground, and Trixie, he's going to be taken down. They'll find it. But Tumberman jumping in, forcing Koi for back.
He's dead for 80 because of that previous buyback too. That is a very long respawn.
Escape. I'm going to have to pull out some big whip guns here to hold this defense up.
This may be the first melee racks going down unless Invoker can make some big stalling plays, because no buyback on Slark and tanking means key heroes are just missing.
And checking out the Tornado. It's got the Sunstrike as well. Was looking for GH, but GH just slightly off the point. Escape having to defend 4 versus 5 with the Slark back up. Liquid now simply take the melee racks, play it safe, back up, and get the objective. And they'll be very happy with that last bit of momentum. And in fact, maybe even thinking about going back in if Escape come out and reveal themselves.
Yeah, for now they are staying in the neighborhood, but there's Radiant Vision in that area, something that Batrider hasn't scouted just yet with that gem of his. We'll see. Perhaps them just kind of fall back and prioritize fighting around the next Rosh and even claiming that next Rosh for themselves if Escape don't try and contest it. DD on Miracle. Most likely just going to use this to farm unless Escape actually move out of their base, which they kind of are making a move towards that Rosh bet.
They want to contest the Rosh.
And this is a DD Tiny that you're running into.
Nice.
It's a scary problem. 700 damage or something with a DD Tiny. No big deal.
3-2-2. A magic number. Let's see if the charm works. Here we have Liquid. They are going to look for the fight. Error. Who's he going to fight as the first target? There'll be a Nightmare to hold by Miracle. BT actually taken off by the Dark Path Fox. Error put the BT into the damage from Miracle. Oh, 2 down. He looks towards Trixie. Burrow strikes away, but Miracle jumps forward, gets the triple kill. They managed to find 4 at the side of Escape as Timberman was finishing off Koifa on the sidelines.
That's one of those game-winning DD, and they're already ahead by all means. It wasn't like they just turned the game off of it, but that DD rune,
4.3k damage done in that fight thanks to that DD.
They may have just won the game off of that team fight. The
There's no
AC now, no buybacks. It's going to be probably all 3 melee Raxes, maybe just mega creeps, and if you're Escape, you're probably even thinking, do we GG out here? Like, can we actually play this game out? You've got
and they do. And they tap out. That's all too much for Escape. Liquid taking game 2 here with again a performance where Escape Gaming certainly showing that there was some strength in their lineup and in their play, but at the end of the day, the Timberman, Timber, Miracle Tiny, and the team just playing perfectly around it. It really was another stellar performance from Liquid. And they are now 1 game away from claiming the championship title here at the DreamHack Dream League LAN Finals.